Deep in the frostbitten woods of the north, a single tiefling named White Phoenix wakes up face down in the snow, ears ringing from a fall that should have been fatal. The sheer cold is the first thing that hits, a sharp, invasive reminder that time is running out for the village's midwinter celebration. Without that stolen crimson ribbon, the entire ritual, a symbol of protection and continuity for the community, will fail before the sun sets.
It is such a visceral way to start an adventure. Usually we see heroes charging in, but White Phoenix is literally picking themselves up out of the dirt. Or the ice in this case. The disorientation is key here because it grounds the stakes. This isn't just about a ribbon, it's about a character who's already physically compromised trying to track a thief in a lethal environment. The memory of the theft is what pulls them up, that flash of red against the white snow.
Exactly. And as White Phoenix shakes off the vertigo, the investigation begins. They aren't just blindly running into the woods. They use an unseen servant spell to start tracking footprints. It's a clever tactical move. According to the player's handbook, an unseen servant is a mindless, invisible force. But here, White Phoenix uses it almost like a bloodhound's phantom, directing it to brush away fresh powder to reveal the path beneath.
That use of magic speaks to the tiefling's intelligence. In Dungeons & Dragons, tieflings often have that innate connection to the arcane, and using a first-level spell like Unseen Servant for tracking is resourceful. The servant follows the trail into a dense thicket of snowy woods, but then the narrative takes a weird turn. The tracks don't just continue on a flat plain, they begin to ascend a rocky outcrop.
Which is where the dread starts to settle in. Most natural prey, or even humanoids, would stick to the easier paths. Heading up into the rocks suggests something that either doesn't fear a fall, or, more disturbingly, something that wants a high ground advantage. As White Phoenix follows, they notice a specific scent. It's described as musky and metallic, a heavy predatory odor that cuts right through the clean, crisp smell of the pine and snow.
That metallic note is a major red flag. In many ecological studies of predators, or even looking at D&D monster lore, a metallic smell often points toward fresh blood or iron-rich musk. It's a classic indicator of a carnivore. Specifically, it brings to mind the owl bear. D&D lore often notes that owl bears have a bear's keen sense of smell and an owl's lethal precision. They are notoriously aggressive, and that scent is their calling card.
White Phoenix reaches the top of this outcrop and finds a hidden, hollow campsite. It's not a cozy campfire scene. There's a fire, but it's dying, just embers and gray ash. Scattered around the clearing are gnawed bones, stripped clean. And there, draped over a low-hanging branch like a trophy, is the crimson ribbon. The contrast of that bright, celebratory red against the bleak, bone-strewn camp is haunting.
The psychological tension here is incredible. You have the objective, the ribbon, right in front of you. But the environment is screaming at you to leave. White Phoenix has to make a choice. They consider seeking outside help, maybe heading back to a garrison or the village authorities. But looking at the map of the wilderness, they realize they're too far out. By the time they brought back scouts or guards, the predator would be gone and the midwinter deadline would have passed.
It's the classic, no one is coming to save you moment. White Phoenix has to rely on their own wits. They don't just rush the camp. Instead, they cautiously scout from the ridge, staying low, using the natural rock formations for cover. They're looking for the source of that musky scent, scanning the tree line for any sign of movement, any golden yellow eyes or ruffled feathers.
That patience is what separates a dead adventurer from a living one. The creature remains unseen, which is actually scarier than a direct confrontation. The imagination fills in the gaps. Every snap of a frost-laden twig sounds like a closing trap. White Phoenix watches the campsite, waiting for the wind to shift, trying to gauge if the predator is sleeping in the hollow or circling the perimeter.
Finally, the decision is made, the descent. White Phoenix moves down toward the camp, heart hammering against their ribs. The metallic scent is stronger now, almost cloying. Every step into the hollow feels like walking into a mouth. They reach the branch, fingers brushing the silk of the ribbon. It's cold, damp with melted frost, and they pull it down.
The recovery of the ribbon isn't the end of the danger, though. The predator is still there, somewhere in the shadows of the rocks or the dense pines. The story ends with White Phoenix clutching the ribbon, the looming presence of the beast still palpable. It's a victory, but a narrow one, emphasizing that in the wild, survival is often just a matter of being slightly faster or more observant than the thing hunting you.
It highlights the fragility of these village traditions. A whole community's hope rested on a piece of silk and the courage of one tiefling who refused to stay down after a fall. If this story of survival and tracking resonates with you, pass it along to a friend who appreciates a good tabletop mystery. Deep in the frostbitten woods of the north, a single tiefling named White Phoenix wakes up face down in the snow, ears ringing from a fall that should have been fatal. The sheer cold is the first thing that hits, a sharp, invasive reminder that time is running out for the village's midwinter celebration. Without that stolen crimson ribbon, the entire ritual, a symbol of protection and continuity for the community, will fail before the sun sets.
It is such a visceral way to start an adventure. Usually we see heroes charging in, but White Phoenix is literally picking themselves up out of the dirt, or the ice in this case. The disorientation is key here because it grounds the stakes.